Hey everybody, welcome back to another 97. Hello. Hi, how are you? I hope you are doing well. I want to continue my commentary on Reesa Teesa. Just a few points that I want to point out as well because, for the past 2 weeks or so, I believe this has been a viral topic, rightfully so, is very sensational, and there's a lot of talking points. What I do want to mention is, there's this fascination by women for true crime stories or anything of that ilk. And that includes dating a dirty John. So Reesa Teesa dating this man and her having several moments within the marriage and prior to the marriage with him and seeing red flag after red flag after red flag, yet she chose to stay. I think it speaks to her fascination with being in this scenario. There is a culture, I would say, a subculture also of women who find joy and pleasure from watching true crime documentaries, from watching stalker shows, from watching Snapped, from watching How Did I Kill My Husband and Got Away with It. All of these shows are sensationalizing, and the demo for this is women. Now, I am a part of that community. I'm not saying this in a sense of, shaming them. I'm saying this in a sense of I understand because it is sensationalizing and I want to watch more. I think almost every documentary that has been about true crime, stalking, killing your ex, a scorned lover, every one of them, it always starts off with, this has been the most gruesome, cruel love story, love triangle in the last 10 years. And it's like, okay, how many 10 years has this been? How many times are you going to say the same thing for every new documentary? But nonetheless, I'm watching. So with this situation with Reesa Teesa, I think this was an opportunity to be a part of that in real time. How exciting to feel like you don't know who you married. I know that sounds wild. Like your rational mind is thinking, what the hell, what's wrong with you? But the fantastical side of yourself, the side of yourself that you find pleasure in kinks and just different desires, really relish off of the prospect of being in such a relationship. So with Reesa Teesa, she is someone I believe thought she could find some type of joy and pleasure from it all. Because what tripped me out was she said she spent 2 weeks investigating this case in her home, the same home she was sharing with this man, this husband of hers, Legion. So for her to, they were living in different rooms at the time. He was dealing with some physical pain with his knee, and we still don't know exactly what was it. Like, did he have a diagnosis? Was that a lie too? Nonetheless, he was staying in a different room. And apparently, from what she said, as soon as they got married, the sex stopped. The sex immediately ceased, and it was surprising to her because typically you hear of the woman suddenly holding out on sex as soon as she traps the man into marriage. That's typically what you hear, right? So for it to be the other way around was quite surprising. And I understand that. So I was like, oh, that's weird. I would understand how Reesa Teesa felt in that moment. I'll be very frustrated. Like, how we get married and we're not, what's going on? So anyway, she said that. Then she talked about the fact that he was having this physical pain with his knee, and he was losing an immense amount of weight, and it was quite concerning. So they decided to stay in different rooms because it was, of course, disrupting her sleep. And at this point, she was already realizing and learning of different moments that prove his pathological lying ass behavior. So they're staying in different bedrooms. In her bedroom, she has this bulletin board with yarn and thumbnails and pictures and text messages printed that she's piecing evidence A with evidence B, but what about evidence D, right? So she is figuring this all out. And I bring this up because she is in this true life story of a dirty John. She is in this criminal ass relationship. I mean, not criminal necessarily. It's just she's with someone who is a con artist who thrives off of lying to her and getting her hopes up, yet never following through. And she said throughout her TikTok series that she would know that he's lying, yet she still went along with it. She still continued seeing him. She still continued just believing him and going through with the process. So the many times that they went to go look at a house and start off the home buying process, just to be halted at the same point that they were with the previous house and the previous house, because of him still not choosing to share his proof of funds. This is all something that she is still choosing to be in. So my theory is it's not even on the sense of, oh, she's being desperate and she wants to get married at all costs and she's up in age and she just wants to start her family, and she's been conditioned to idolize marriage as a Christian woman, as a Black Christian woman. I mean, we've talked about this, you guys. So this is something that I'm not surprised with for someone like her, of her stature, of her background, and of her culture. So that's already a given. But I think to add on to that, she is thriving off of the adrenaline rush of dating someone who could possibly be a killer. You know what I mean? Because I don't think we mention the possible signs or threats of danger she could have found herself in after revealing to him that she knows he's been lying about X, Y, and Z. So while she was up in her room conjuring up evidence and piecing different informations together just to create this timeline, she finally presented to him, oh, I know you lied about this. I know you lied about that. I know you lied about this. I know you don't really have any funds in your offshore account. I know you don't even have an offshore account. I know you probably never played that football area code, whatever it's called. I know you've been lying about everything. You don't have family. You know, the person you've been talking to on your phone who you claim is your brother, you haven't spoken to him, according to what your brother said, for the past 5-10 years. Y'all don't have a relationship. I know that you've been on the phone talking to air, creating conversations that are made up in your head that you happen to say out loud. I know you've been lying. So she could have put herself in grave danger by coming forward and letting him know, I've caught you in your lies. She could have, because men, not every man, of course, but I've watched so many documentaries of true crime, of love scorned type of documentaries, to know how things like this sometimes play out. It could play out to the man feeling so exposed, so embarrassed, and unable to put his feelings into words, that he then goes ahead and kill her and end her life. So there's been so many examples of that in real life that I think she failed to accept the reality of, or maybe she was just in the heat of the moment that she just felt, aha. Because even when I was telling you guys the last episode that what was the point of it, right? Okay, you found out that he lied about X, Y, and Z. You come forward and confront him on that. You have your laid out evidence in front of you. And you got angrier and angrier when he continued to lie to your face, knowing damn well he's lying. You did all that for what? To prove to him that you're not a dodo? Well, bitch, you've been a dodo because you stayed with him knowing damn well he's lying to you time after time after time. So I say all this to say there is an unhealthy obsession that us women, and I'm saying us because I have fallen into that pool, because I really do enjoy watching Law and Order SVU, Chicago PD. I love watching gore with a good storyline, typically a storyline of love scorn. And sometimes I do fantasize about things. Let me just say that. But I think about it as, oh, I fantasize it like, oh, maybe I could create some type of content about that, right? Maybe not real life of doing it. But it's natural to feel that way, right? I think sometimes when you are overly consuming certain content, you find yourself obsessing over it even after you finish watching it, right? So some people would argue playing video games of a particular nature, like those shoot video games. Oh, it's unhealthy for young people. It could influence them to get a gun and yada, yada, yada. When, that could be the same for those who find pleasure in watching true crime documentaries after true crime documentaries. So I think Reesa Teesa found herself in this mess for a plethora of reasons. And one of the reasons that I've just went over is because she finds pleasure in the reality of living out her fantasy of a true crime documentary. That's my theory. And that's it for I just wanted to come on and add that to the mess. So since this has been going viral, Legion has come forward and denied all of these claims. Now, not sure if this is actually him. Let's assume that it is him and he is truly the one on camera. But from the video that I saw, he didn't really say much. I don't really feel like it's necessary for me to play it. It's not like he's revealing a 5-part a 5-part TikTok, 50-part TikTok series on it. He just said a quick TikTok that I found. I don't know if he made more. Nonetheless, it hasn't gone viral like Reesa Teesa's. So if that is him, if that truly is Legion, then I still believe Reesa Teesa. Because all he said was like, oh, she's lying. Y'all believe this mess? You know how some men who lie and you catch them in their lie and their defense is to laugh it off. Like, really? You believe that? Damn, you crazier than I thought. Like, it's like, you are lying. You lied. So anyway, so that has been going on. Now, in her series, we hear that she spoke to Legion's first wife from 10 years ago. And actually, he had a wife after her. It was confusing. He's had several women prior to marrying Reesa Teesa. And one of the women that Reesa Teesa reached out to was the one that she found out about. And through her thorough research, her investigative approach, she found out her information and decided to just give her a call. And it turned out to be the correct number. So this woman here, I'm assuming this is the woman that she spoke to on the phone and that we learned about through her TikTok series. So she actually is coming forward with her own TikTok. This is just 2 minutes though, so I'm glad that it's straight to the point. I don't know if she's gonna continue with more videos, but I'm gonna go ahead and play this video clip of Legion's first wife from 10 years ago who is spilling the tea now.
So I'm going to address the elephant in the room because it's been brought to my attention that my ex-husband is out here in these streets disturbing individuals as he always has, and I have been brought into this. Let me first say, this chapter of my life is closed. I have moved on. It's been more than 10 years. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm good, okay? But after I say this, let's just leave it alone. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm not going to address it anymore because I have nothing to do with this. This is my past life. The book is closed, okay? So Legion, as y'all call him, is a despicable, nasty, and vile individual. I fell for the trap.
So while she's giving her speech, she is clearly looking at a screen. So it seems like she has organized her thoughts and wants to remain in order of her emotions and how she plans on expressing herself through her speech. So so that's just something that I'm noticing here. She's clearly like looking at the camera as well as a separate screen as she is giving her speech.
Over 10 years ago. Yes, he was charming and I was broken mentally. Okay?
You know what? I am so, what's the word? I'm so happy to see the accountability. So Reesa Teesa demonstrated accountability throughout her TikToks, and to see Legion's first wife do the same, I think is very commendable because again, we go the easy route when it comes to relationships and who's to blame and the demise of the relationship. It's quick for us to say, oh, Legion ain't shit, and he very much isn't. But as I said in the last episode, you guys, I do think that he is unwell mentally. And I'm not saying this as a way, again, to dismiss or excuse his behavior, but I'm saying this as a way to provide context. He is unwell. There is something wrong with someone who finds pleasure and joy in lying repeatedly to a woman, to anyone, and who creates scenarios and runs off of it and really builds the appropriate emotion for each scenario, knowing that it's a false narrative time and time again. That is a disorder. So I know we don't like to excuse behavior or find understanding. That's really what I want to say. It's finding understanding. But I think it's more mature to look at things from a different perspective outside of your own feelings, which are justified. But let's just be honest here. You don't live in your own world. You live in a world with other people who have their own mess, who have their own perspectives and their own realities that they create in their mind. So again, I'm just saying all this to say, I'm proud of this woman here who I don't know, but who is clearly taking some accountability by saying, look, I was a broken person. And this man who was charming, who was a gentleman at one point and who catered to me, he gathered me. He made me feel whole and he made me feel loved and yada, yada, yada. So, of course, I gave him some excuses and stayed with him longer than I should have.
Understand, self-love was not here at all for me to actually love myself enough to understand that this is not love. He manipulated me. He loved bombed me. All of the, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that and everything else. Yes, all of these things were said to me. Guess what? None of it happened. He's manipulative and he literally tried to ruin my life.
Now, isn't manipulative the hardest word to say? Oh my, manipulative and familiarity. Oh, I still see how I've said manipulative. That's better Then how I said familiar, those two words beat my ass every time.
He had family turn against me because he wanted to tell people lies about me and things of that nature. And unfortunately, he's very, very good at what he does. It took me many, many, many years to get past that. I have healed. And with this situation being brought back to me, it's like cutting me back open with a dagger because I was already healed up. The Band-Aid had been left. I've gotten married. I'm happy. Been good, right? But this man is a pathological liar. He gave up all types of promises, but to the cars and houses, just like Reesa. But guess what? None of that ever came to pass, right? So I just need for people to know that this.
And there we have it. So she is, again, just sharing her tidbits from her own mouth rather than it being told from the perspective of Reesa Teesa. Now, Reesa Teesa didn't slam her or make her feel stupid for being with him in the first. It wasn't anything that she needed to clear up, but I guess she just felt the need to share her own perspective about this marriage that she was in with this man who we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks now. So shout out to Reesa Teesa, Legion, and his first wife. God bless. Okay, speaking of women, I guess, I don't know, I just randomly thought of that transition. I want to talk about Monique. Let's talk about Monique. Okay, so Monique is on tour with Cat Williams. How convenient. How convenient is that? How convenient is fucking that? But shout out to her. So she's on tour with Cat Williams. And of course, the hype of Cat Williams' interview with Club Shay Shay or Shannon Sharp really set the tone for comedians since the start of this year. It has been an exciting war, an exciting beef between comedians, between podcasters and comedians. It's been very interesting, to say the least. And Monique decided to get on Club Shay Shay and give her speech. Now, many of the things, if not all, I have already been privy to about Monique's situations with Hollywood, with Tyler Perry, Oprah, the list goes on. So I wasn't sensationalized by it. What I wasn't familiar with is her relationship with her eldest son, Shalon, who has come on TikTok or Twitter, just social media in general, and has given his speech on his mother and their non-existent relationship. It is pretty disappointing. It's sad, honestly, to see a son and a mother going back and forth online. It really shows the type of relationship that they've had for quite some time. And now it's gone public. So I wasn't, again, familiar with it. Maybe she did talk about it at some point before. But to see both of them go online and go back and forth and back, it's quite disappointing and uncomfortable, very cringe to watch. So Monique is on tour and she is setting up a joke as she talks about her at a New Jersey airport. And as she's at the airport, a woman comes up to her who's an elderly woman, and she is giving her 2 cents about Monique's relationship with her son. Let me go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll talk about it.
So today I'm coming through the airport in Newark, New Jersey. It's the realest niggas I've ever met from Newark, New Jersey. I'm coming through that motherfucking airport, and I done just seen this motherfucking TikTok of my goddamn son. Had I known that nigga was gonna do a TikTok the day I brought him home, I'm gonna let y'all take that one.
So here, clearly she's saying, and I hope everything is sounding clear on your end. I am recording remotely, so there is not a video attached to this audio. You just hear my sexy ass voice. Hello, take your dick out. So yes, so I'm literally just like pointing the mic to the computer as I'm playing these clips. So as I'm listening back, I hope to God it's going fine. Otherwise, I will have to find a way to like do some post edits. Anyway, you know, podcast dog. So she is talking about Shalon, her son, which maybe what's going on with that name? I know it's not right to talk about people's names. I get it. It's like you're wrecking their family history. I get it, but like, God dang, some names I'll just be like, what's going on? So she is obviously aware of his TikTok videos and the responses that he has been giving online about his feelings regarding his mother as well as daddy, which is so funny because he's actually referring to him as daddy as well, but he's obviously doing it in a mocking sense. But let's go ahead and continue.
And when you see your child that you fuck for, I fuck for that nigga, not another bitch, it was me. And you see your motherfucking child go on a goddamn internet and tell people all the fuck that you're not.
Fuck that
and you just supposed to take that shit in stride. And I'm taking that shit in stride. And I'm walking through the motherfucking Newark airport and this elderly woman comes up to me. She said, Monique. I said, ma'am. Because I'm a respectful bitch, baby. I'm a respect this bitch. She home.
And here's the thing with elderly women. Now, I don't know if I entirely believe this story. You know, sometimes with comedians, they got to judge it up. Maybe someone else came up to her to talk about their comments and 2 cents about Monique and her son. But an elderly woman, I don't know. But again, elderly women do have the audacity. That's the one thing they have. They have their gums and they have the audacity. So this could be very, very much true.
She said, let me talk to you for a minute. So I had prepared myself for this old woman to tell me how fucked up I was. I prepared myself to be respectful, but to check a bitch if I had to. I prepared myself to listen. She said, listen, my grandbaby called me and told me to watch this goddamn TikTok of your son. And I watched that shit. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I want to tell you something. I said, ma'am. She said, fuck that nigga. I said, oh, bitch, fuck.
So, yeah, so this is what she's saying here. We know that this elderly woman came out of nowhere while she's at the airport and wanted to give her 2 cents on Monique's relationship with her son. And her 2 cents is, fuck that nigga. An elderly woman saying, fuck that nigga. Now, let's, again, with this context, let's obviously make the assumption that this elderly woman is a black woman. And this elderly woman has the audacity, as they all do, because at this point, if you're 70 and above, why not have the audacity? You are entitled to have the audacity. But I don't know. That's 2 big swears to me. Fuck and nigga. Elderly people are speaking like that? I don't know. I mean, maybe some black Americans are. This is me being xenophobic. Not xenophobic, but I don't know. I just feel like that's just hard to envision. But again, this is her setting up a joke.
And when the elderly people tell you fuck that nigga, you ain't fuck that nigga. She said you been taking care of that nigga all his motherfucking life. She said, Monique, I'm 80 years old and I got a son 60 years old. And every time that nigga don't get what he want, he still tell me how fucked up I was when he was 10 years old. Fuck that nigga. Fuck them kids, bitch.
Word. They grown now.
And she said to me, She said, see, when I was a younger woman, I had to work too, goddammit. She said, and this is Black History Month, and I had to do a job that don't nobody talk about. When they was out there in that civil rights march fighting and shit, I had a job to do. She said, I was one of the hoes of the civil rights movement. I said, bitch, I'm not playing with you. She said, somebody had to keep them niggas drained.
You get that part of the joke? Somebody had to keep them niggas drained. Because she said she was one of the hoes of the civil rights movement. So she was sucking them off to keep them drained. You know, there is power in that. I love when... fill in the blank. But there is power in that. Giving a good suck off and seeing the lights go out. Yes, God. I did that for your pleasure and mine. I get off on that, but you know, and fuck that nigga, right? Fuck that nigga, Monique. Fuck that nigga. Anyway, this is disturbing. It's disappointing. It's cringe. I wish them well. I hate that we are a part of this, but you know, we are in a day and age where we let our grievances out online. That's the what? What do you mean? Call you independently and not air it on TikTok? What? No. I'm going to tell you how I feel through Instagram, through a meme, through a TikTok playlist, through a live, through several YouTube shorts. That's how I'm going to do it. So may the Lord bless them. It's unfortunate that they're in this situation, but again, it is what it is. Okay, Wendy Williams. Oh, my heart breaks. My heart breaks. It really does. I feel so sad to see her in this state. She has been out of whack for 3 years now. I know she has been very vocal about her health issues. This is something that has been ongoing, but it hasn't been this bad visibly and publicly to us. So it feels very uncomfortable to watch this documentary. I haven't watched it. I've just seen some clips. I don't know if I will watch it, but it's very unfortunate to see her at this state. I think for quite some time, not even I think, you know, Wendy has dominated their airwaves and just been a trend setter when it comes to giving out entertainment news, delivering entertainment news. So she started off on the radio and was very successful with that. Though she's had her moments of professional strife when she got fired and tried to get canceled several times, she still rose to the top. So much so that she had her own daytime talk show for quite some time, and it was a hit. There were times when I would look forward to it airing on YouTube for me to catch up on hot topics. That's how she talked about it. So seeing her where she is right now and learning that she has a medical condition that is completely getting in the way of her stability is quite disturbing to watch and learn about. So she actually has dementia and aphasia. Both of them are very related to each other. We know dementia is something that affects your memory. You have immense memory loss, and it's difficult for you to understand or know the relation of some person in your life. So you have children, but you meet them for today, and you don't know that that's your son. You have, a husband, but you don't know that that's your husband. You literally have strong memory loss, and it's for people in your life, not just strangers, not just acquaintances. It's for anyone in your life who you just don't have a memory of anymore because of this dementia, or the memory will come sparingly. Last year, Williams, 59 years old, was diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia. According to a press release from her representatives, quote, Wendy would not have received confirmation of these diagnoses were it not for the diligence of her current care team, who she chose, and the extraordinary work of the specialists at Weill Cornell Medicine. Receiving a diagnosis has enabled Wendy to receive the medical care she requires. In this follow-up statement, Wendy Williams' representatives added that she is able to do many things for herself. She was involved in choosing the members of her care team. She was involved with and improved the statement that was released this morning. So according to that statement, she is in agreement with this statement, something that she was in alignment of. It wasn't something that was brought out under secrecy and without her approval. And according to this Lifetime documentary trailer, I think it is already out, the documentary. But according to it, it says that Wendy has no money, which I find hard to believe. And maybe it is true because the entertainment industry is very fucked up in the sense of it doesn't pay the talent appropriately, or the funds are distributed in an unfair manner, so much so that you are left with crumbs while your manager and your press release person or whomever has a majority of your finances. So according to this, she has no money. And that's really hard to see, hard to read. Her brother, sister, and niece detailed this in this cover story for People magazine. And according to what her niece said, who is also the Miami news anchor, her name is Alex Feeney. And I remember Wendy talking about her on her talk show. She said it was shocking and heartbreaking to see her in this state. She says, we've all seen the images over the last few months and really few years of what has seemed like a spiral for my aunt. So this is quite disturbing to watch. Now, there are some mixed responses to this. There are some people who are very sympathetic and emotional about it in a way that garners just sympathy, right? You know, I'm sorry to see this. This is devastating to watch. This is so sad. I wish her recovery and well. Hopefully there is some recovery. I don't really know much. I don't think dementia is something that you can recover from. I know there's a lot of ads on TV about dementia and possible treatments for it, but I don't know if it's 100% guaranteed. But, you know, with dementia is typically attached to old age. And for Wendy Williams to be 59 years old, that is relatively young in comparison to those who do have dementia. The demographic for that is older, 80 or above, maybe in your 70s and above. But to be 59, like, that is not okay. Wendy has been very vocal about her Graves' disease, which is something that affects her eye sockets, I think. Like, you see how her eyes kind of look sunken. And it also, and she had lymphoma, which affects her legs. They look very, very fat. Very plump, I should say, actually. Not even fat, like plump, like swollen. So this is a myriad of illnesses that she is trying to tackle and manage. And it's been just a whirlwind with the revelation of her husband, who is now her ex-husband. But at the time, while they were going through their divorce, he was exposed to have been in a relationship with another woman, so much so that they have a child together. At the time, they were just pregnant, but now, like, you know, the child is fully out and he is with this woman. Like, they're together. And look, it is what it is. Sometimes marriages don't work out, and that's what it is. But I bring that up to say this just adds on to the stress that she was already experiencing. So I just love Wendy, and I hate to see this. I really missed her on my roster of entertainment news consumption. She was my go-to girl. At the time, I also watched The View. I was a staunch Democrat. Who, me? Yes, me. So my schedule was The View and Wendy Williams. Literally, it was back to back. And they actually came on at the same time. So at the time, I was super devoted to The View because it was really good. Like, Meghan McCain, when she was on it, though she ruffled my feathers, she was entertaining and she provided a balanced response to the different entertainment news. As for what it has been after Meghan McCain, you see such a strong lean to the left that it's unbearable to watch. Like, give me some nuance, give me some other perspectives. And Sunny Hostin has been so freaking unbearable. It's so disappointing. Anyway, let me get off that horse. But yeah, I used to watch them at the same time, or I will watch The View first, and then I'll watch Wendy Williams later because she'll post her episodes on YouTube. So that was my schedule. She was a part of my routine for quite some time. And then now it's just been podcast after podcast, y'all. Like, I watch so many podcast shows, and I have a roster that I will always like follow up with or check on or listen to on a regular basis. And I think, I don't know if it's blasphemy to say, but Tasha K has been my new Wendy Williams. And they have a similar reaction or just rhetoric when it comes to delivering gossip. They have this funny sense of delivery, which I just find very entertaining. So anyway, it's just been different, but I've been managing to find some good replacements. Nothing could replace Wendy, but at the very least, Tasha K comes close. Tasha K comes close. Okay, so I'm gonna play this clip of Wendy Williams clearly not demonstrating herself in a stable mental state, and it's so unbearable to watch. But this has been a clip that has gone viral. It has 14.2 million views. And what's random about this is Black China, who now goes by Angela White, because she has since put behind her whoring days, no offense, but she has turned over a new leaf. She has found Christ, and she now goes by Angela White. Just like how, you know how Superhead was Superhead before, and that's what she was known for. Now she's known as not even Karine Steffens, because I think she changed her name, or Karine Steffens was a pen name also. She's going by another name, and her whole appearance online is not this sex vixen that we were introduced to at first. It's now this woman who's a book nerd and who wears glasses, and just, you would really not even think that she was this video whore back in the day. Anyways, I know I'm sounding so damn aggressive. I'm just making the point. Okay, let's go ahead and play this clip here.
We last spoke. You've always been like honest with me and like put me in my place. Yeah. You know what I mean? In like the most motherly, kind way. That's why I love you so much. Because even when I was going through my darkest times, like, you never used that against me. You know what I mean? And that's how you know that the love is like genuine and it's always going to be there. You know, and I'm always be here for you, like, straight up. You can call my phone whenever. I'm so serious. And I think I'm going to be back and forth from New York, so I'm going to be coming to see you more.
Well, my real name is Wendy Hunter.
Like, Wendy, what? You know, we have to give her grace. She is clearly not in her right sense of mind. But her response to all of that was, my real name is Wendy Hunter. Black Angela White didn't even say Wendy Williams in that moment to garner this response. So for her to say that immediately was just like so weird. And for her to say that knowing, well, she probably doesn't know, but for her to say that with us knowing that her husband is no longer, like, they're not married anymore. He has clearly moved on to another woman and has created a whole new family with her. Like, he's moved on. So for you to still capture and maintain that name, that last name, was just so hilarious to me. Let me just play it back.
My real name is Wendy Hunter.
What?
Hunter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm divorced.
Yes.
So she is aware of the fact that she is divorced. So she says right after, and I'm divorced. So your real name isn't Wendy Hunter. Am I so ignorant to the divorce process that I immediately thought her last name would be dropped? She's not Tina Turner, who kept her last name. I just think that's so weird.
He's got no money.
You ain't gotta dig. How you know what he got? Ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love you.
So do I.
I gotta go. Not so do I. So do I. But you know what I like about that? That kind of reminds me of just the conditioning in this world, how when someone says I love you, we've been conditioned to immediately say it back. When someone says I miss you, we've been conditioned to say that back rather than actually realizing I don't miss you back, or I didn't miss you that weekend or that week, you know what I mean? Or I actually don't love you. Like, so I think we have to be more mindful. So that just made me more mindful of not just I love you. Like, whenever I say I love you or I love you back or I love you too, I do mean it. But when it comes to like the I miss you, like for example, whenever I would take a day off from work and I would have some of the girls say, you know, some of my students be like, oh my gosh, I miss you, Miss Bertha. It's like, thank you. That's been the response. I'm like, oh, I'll just say, oh, that's so sweet, right? But, you know, some other people may instantly say, I missed you too. When it's like, no, I didn't. And that's okay. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate you and I don't like you or not. No, it's just, I don't have the same emotion back. I don't miss you. And I didn't miss you. I thoroughly enjoyed my time off. And I am not too happy being, no, I'm happy to return, but it's just so funny to me. I miss you. Okay. Or we missed you. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. So yes. Shout out to Wendy Williams. I'm also learning that her team or somebody in her management is trying to prevent the release of this documentary. Which I don't know. I find it to be a bit confusing because we were under the impression from what's been communicated that Wendy Williams signed off on this documentary being recorded and released for the masses to watch. And of course, she does get a check from it. Like, she is able to be financially supported from this documentary. So that is probably in large of the reason why she decided to agree with this documentary. Yet, whoever is on her team is claiming that, no, that's not the case, and we want to put a stop to it. But if that's not the case, then how did this get recorded? When did the recording start and when did it stop? Why didn't you come in between that prior to it being released? It's just so weird. But yeah, she is not in her right mind. I don't know when exactly it got worse, but it is not going well at all. Hello. Okay, so shout out to Wendy Williams. I wish her well. Where's Theo? Okay. Diddy and these rape allegations must end. I mean, there's nothing else to say about this. Of course, he's going to deny it. Allegedly, he gang raped a young girl back in the day. This young woman is not coming forward with her name. So we just give her the name of Jane Doe. But, you know, at this point, I don't really know much. Look, I believe every word of Cassie. I believe every word of all of the women who came forward. I think it's true. Was I there? No. I was 12. So, no. But let's see how these things turn out. Ultimately, Diddy needs to go away. He needs to go on an island. Is that Epstein Island still available? Like, he needs to go there for a while and stop talking. But he has come forward again and has thoroughly denied such allegations. And his lawyer is saying the evidence or the new filing that they have will speak for themselves. We'll see. The court of public opinion reigns supreme. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every listen. Make sure you have subscribed. You left a positive review on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And I will check in with y'all next time. Peace.